Okay, I've come up with a determination that my dimension needs to be 0.618. Now the flange that I have here is 0.040. The flange on it, the thickness of that is 0.04. So I'm going to subtract that from 0.618. 040 gives me 8. 4 from 11 is 7. So that gives me a thickness of 0.578. So that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for 0.578. Let me see what that is.
One hour later. Two hours later.
Oops.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
About 13 millimeters. Okay. So that's what we're going for. So I'm going to glue up that part. I'm going to get a caliper and mark, make that dimension, open it up to that dimension, and then we'll score that, and then we'll cut that puppy off and start making our brass part. So nice to have a decent cutoff tool. Okay, there's our housing. Okay. Now, I'll turn you off while I put in the brass, and we'll get that all lined up and get it ready to go. Okay, I've got the brass dialed in here. You can see it's just slightly off on two edges, but they're both off the same way, so I think that this isn't perfectly round. So we're going to call this good. This within 1/1000th of an inch one way or the other. I think our brass is set up properly. So now we'll go ahead and we'll go to work milling it. Unfortunately, the hole in the chuck isn't big enough to run the brass all the way back in, so it's sticking out further than I would like, but it'll be okay. We're only going to take so much of this anyway, so it's a very small piece that we're going to be taking out of this. So we'll go ahead and we'll start prepping her. Oops, got a bad tip. Hang on, guys. I think we hit her dead nuts on. Yeah. Exactly a thousandths over. Okay, good. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to part this part off, and we'll drill this and then part it off. So let's go ahead and we'll get this going. There we go. Okay, so we made our bearing. We've got our encasement. And we have our top shield. And let's check our dimension. We should be we're there. We did everything right. So now we're going to go through back over and let's see here. I don't know if I can do this and not get in your way. So we'll see what we can do. Okay, what did I do with my housing? There we go. This one here is going to have to go up in there. Oh boy, that's tight. It's going to be a bear trying to get this in, I can tell you that right now. Maybe I can slip this in after I get this tire up. It's so stinking heavy. That's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to try to slip everything up after I get the tire all up and shimmed up there. I have to try to figure out how I can shim this tire up. Now for the first one. Okay, I forgot. I'm going to have to make sure that comes out right there. Oh. Where are you, you lousy hole? Okay, so I need to get the pin into this right here. Okay. Well, this is Jeff with E.D.S INC Shandon, and we've had quite a night of it. It's probably about 1:30 now. I started probably about 10 o'clock today. It's Sunday, and pulled off the wheel off the forklift, pulled out the pin, did all my measurements, made some bearings, made a couple of washers, and reassembled everything. And forklift's running fine. I just brought all my materials back into the shop, so it'll work for a while. I don't know how long. We really need to get a thrust bearing in there, so I'll be ordering one of those on Monday, and then we'll pull the whole thing apart again and put it back together. When I look at the wheel, there's the wheel is got a bevel to it, and that's probably from that part going bad over a long period of time. It put an inappropriate wear on that wheel, so more than likely I'm going to have to either take that down and, well, I might even try turning it on the lathe here and flatten it out so the wheel's flat again. From one side to the other, it's probably a ½ an inch off, so that's quite a bit. The wheel's only about 8 inches wide or so. So I might see when I pull it off and put the new bearing on, I might see if I can put it on the lathe and spin it and get the that wheel flat again across the top. So I'm sure that having it at an angle like that is not going to be conducive to good wear on all the metal parts in the thing, and so I'll probably do that one after I get the new thrust bearing and put that in. So anyway, we made our parts. This is really a first time for me. I've never made parts for a forklift before. I've never even torn into a forklift. I was kind of stuck, needed to get my stuff inside, and we've got trucks to load tomorrow. Well, actually, it's today. So we're going to have to, we need to have that forklift. My other old forklift that I have, it runs, but it doesn't have brakes. And I'm not going to let my people run around with that one because it's too dangerous. You know, I used it and I just was real careful inching it, and I used the emergency brake to stop it, a dead stop, but I don't want my people driving that one. So until we get that one all fixed, then we need to have this other one in here. And of course, without brakes, you couldn't finesse to get the stuff back into the shop. You'd be running into stuff. So it's best that we have the new one fixed up. So anyway, I got her fixed. She's running. I moved everything in and then took a look at her again, and it seems to be holding up just fine. It's doing what it's supposed to do. The thing is it just doesn't have any rollers in there as a thrust bearing would, so because it's bronze. So, but it's a softer metal than the middle's top and bottom, so I expect it to wear. Kind of expect it to crush, and that's why I made that metal housing around it to prevent it from crushing outward and just losing everything in there. So we've got a cap on it, we've got a base on it, and then we have it surrounded by a good steel housing. So I think even if the brass ends up crushing, it'll just compact, and it'll act still as a bearing, hopefully, until I get the new thrust bearing in. So anyway, with that being said, we'll call it a night. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll have some more content later on. There was a lot of guessing by golly for me on this one. Everything was metric, and I was converting it over to inches because that's easier for me. I only have one tool that's a metric reader, and I don't really trust it. So I was converting everything to inches, and made it get by. It didn't do as good a job as I'd hoped. I'd hoped that that bearing would have been a little bit tighter in the sleeve, but that's the way it goes. I'm not going to kick myself for it. It wasn't bad for a first try. So anyway, thanks for watching us, and hopefully you'll continue. If you like our content, please subscribe. Thanks again for watching E.D.S INC Shandon.